What's going on, guys? Welcome back to RC4wd. I'm not sure at the point of filming this if this is going to be a scale shop hangout video or another TF2 video. So I want to do some stuff here to the blue Scottsdale. I haven't not messed with it a whole lot. I've been kind of busy. So we've about wrapped up the extra cab in its show truck status. This body looks fantastic on that chassis with all the shocks and all the tires and the meat and everything. But I don't want to do the same thing twice, and I can't afford to buy shocks and tires and all that stuff for that. This truck, we already lowered it. I think it was the second or third video on that build series. We adjusted the chassis, got it down low, swapped out the shocks, took the lift blocks off, got it looking very scale. And I I love it, but I think I forgot something. I think I left the springs in the shocks. Those are the Bilstein 60 millimeters, I believe, that I use on my rat rod kits and stuff like that. And I'm 99% sure I did not take the springs out of them. You see I've swapped tires and wheels. So these aren't RC4 drive. These are some off-brand. I don't know what they were. They're probably just some of the internet ones, we'll call it. These came on my white truck, I believe. This whole tire and wheel, this is the 155 BFG mud terrains. Like the tire, not digging the wheel. And there's one reason for that. It's the offset. So you think of a full-size truck, you got these kind of deep dish wheels, they should stick out further. Well, being the width that these K44s are, it doesn't quite stick out that far. So it looks a little off. So with the right offset, everybody in the entire world in existence in the 80s and 90s, you put those kind of wheels on it, your tires stuck out a little more. So that's what's bugging me with those. So I've got a plan for that. Maybe. I got another set of the Boom scale Steelies with the center caps. These are designed for Toyota, but they look great on these square bodies. They're very close to the very similar to the stock hubcaps. They don't say Chevrolet or GMC on them, of course, but I've got a set of those. We got the rear ones without the locking hub. Those look great on here. When we had Jeremy's Big Squid, we had his tan, I don't know what he called that truck, farm truck. And we did all those mods to it. He had these wheels on there with the Rock Stomper tires, and it looked fantastic. But those tires are huge, and they won't fit this lower chassis. So if you've been following the TF2 progress, on the extra cab, that was the RTR truck, I got the Bauhaus carrier bearing relocation bracket, the NR2, and the skid plate. The NR2 skid plate lifts everything up a little bit off of everything. And then we lifted that truck. So we didn't really need to tuck the transfer case up on that because it made the pinion angles weren't terrible. They were doable, but we were going to need longer drive shafts. And after buying 8 shocks and roll bars and lights and those fancy wheels, I didn't have any money for drive shafts. So I put the stock skid plate back on there, lowered that transfer case down. It solved all of our issues with that. But then I was looking, this was up on a shelf by eye level. This one could use it very, very seriously. So we're going to do the Bauhaus swap on that. I already filed this down a little bit, made it easier to fit. The long wheelbase has the carrier bearing. A lot of times you can do without it and just run a longer drive shaft, but I'm not looking to buy drive shafts right now. So this is going to be the perfect solution to that. We're going to be taking a lot of beadlock wheels apart and putting them back together. One thing with these Boom wheels, they have decent offset. They're made to be tucked in because it's a stock steel wheel, but they do come with a wide hex, and they do come with like lock washers and things to put underneath there to keep your axle nut from coming off, basically. So that's the plan for right now. I think I'm going to start with the skid plate because beadlocks do not sound exciting at the moment. All right, so this is a pretty simple swap. See the little Bauhaus logo in there, and it's cool. I didn't notice before until after I already got it on. This has like scale bolts on it now. It's pretty neat. Even the other bracket does as well. I've already pulled all the screws out. This piece is ready to go out. This piece, I pulled the drive shaft out. Of course, no Loctite. We'll have to Loctite that before you put it back in. Oh, come on. Come on, Meow.
Hurry up, Meow.
Oh, there we go. All right. A little bit shorter because we've already lowered the truck. We'll pull this off of here. Move that out of the way. Again, the Bauhaus one goes to a larger ball bearing. We found that out in the last video as well. I was not prepared. Luckily, I found one because I still haven't found my ball bearing stash. Get that piece lined up. I like how it fits in there. It looks like a factory cross member. Get that mashed in nice and tight. I'm gonna throw this other one in. One thing, you can't thread into that like you do the factory one. The factory screws are threaded. So I got some longer screws here, and I've got to get some nuts for them. We'll come back around the top and put some nuts in there. There's plenty of space next to the transfer case, so it's not a big issue. Don't forget the Loctite. I always get that question, like, why do they not Loctite everything? Why does my axial rig not come loose? Because most of the axial stuff is plastic. It's threaded into plastic, so they don't have to Loctite things, because it's not metal on metal. That makes a totally different animal when you do that. All right, we'll let that stuff dry. I'm gonna go ahead and hit these other ones while I'm here. All right, I got those in. You can see I just put some nuts here on the inside. Ran a little bit longer screw. Give this thing a little bit of a tummy tuck. That is much improved. The lower you go, the more you need to protect the underside. I just realized my front inner fender's ripped a little bit. That's not good. I noticed another problem I'm having here with the rear shocks. You can see the angles that they're at. When they're getting to a point where this can't flex anymore, and it's preventing me from going up all the way. So we need to definitely space those upper shock mounts out a little bit further. And they're angled in pretty tight, so we'll move those out. That looks like a 3mm. We may bump that up to like a 5 or a 6. Let me see if I can find some real quick. All right, you can see the difference. I put one on one side. I had to get a longer screw for it to go from a 2mm spacer to a 6. Go ahead and pull this one out. That actually goes into the cross beam that holds our ESC tray in. It's already a pretty long screw, but definitely needs some more. And I did check. There are no springs inside of that shock, so I don't know. This thing is just a little springy because we haven't really gotten to drive it yet. Get this one back in. Puts it at a lot better angle and allows a little more articulation. We're not in any binds anymore. There we go. We still only have a single leaf on the rear of this. It's very lightweight, so we're not getting that much, but that's a decent amount of flex. We don't have a whole lot of droop with this setup. That was the thing with having the shocks mounted on the rails versus the shock mount up here. It's hard to get droop because you're limited by the shock body as far as how much squat you get. So you just got to find that happy place. Once we get to actually drive this thing, we'll see how that changes our perspective on it. We might, I mean, we could even go back and put, get some 90s or 100s and put in here and angle them like your normal TF2 is. So I'm still going to double check the front shocks, make sure they don't have a spring in them as well. I don't remember. This was one of those mad dash videos when I got it right before it came out, and I barely had time to do all the stuff I'd like to do to them. So I'm going to double check that. And then I think we'll move on to the tire and wheel situation, start changing out one of those and see how they look. All right, I got one mounted up. Wanted to talk about the offsets a little bit, if I can get the camera to pick it up. That wheel, that still has the stock hex in it. So it's got the standard 5mm thick one, and it sticks out further than the other wheels did. So I don't know what's up with those wheels. I like those wheels. They're very easy to take apart. They're not your normal beadlock. They actually thread into the hub. So very easy to do. I have another set of tires here. These are the 155 Fun Country, the Dixie Peck. I've had these for a while. I figured I'll throw these wheels on there. Can't ever have enough tires and wheels laying around, especially when you go to mock-up rigs. But these went on really well to the boom wheels, and that's the look. I'm going to go ahead and throw the wide hex on there, bring it out just a hair more. I opted to keep these tires on it because they are a little bit wider than these are, and it fills out that bigger body better. So I figured I'll end up losing parts for these beadlocks if I just put them up like that. So yeah, I'm gonna put some other wheels and tires together and just have them around the shop. All right, I'm gonna swap the hex out real quick. I want to show you this other tire and wheel. That is that wheel that came off of here on this Fun Country. This tire is, I mean, there's no way that it's could hold up a fully loaded TF2. This tire is super ridiculously soft. Maybe I don't even know what. Maybe like a CC01 or something with a lightweight body, like a Amigo or something smaller, that would crush under the weight of one of my fully loaded TF2s. So something to think about. I wanted to show you, I've got this massive pile of hardware here that comes with these boom wheels. I've got to take that off of here. Got these hexes locked on. Find that screw. Where is it? Or is it not a locking one? Okay, it's just on there tight. That's interesting. I was going to show you, we're going to put that wider hex on there. I was going to show you the difference in them. Why is this not coming off? There we go. Oh, and the pin fell out. Oh, of course. Get that turned so the pin's in the right location. Yeah, that's not a locking one. I don't know what its deal was. Put that back in. Our jack stand in place. There we go. All right, so we're gaining. Where's my? Actually got my caliper this time. So the stock TF2 hex is right at 5 millimeters. I was right with that. This one, not on the lips, is, come on, I can get it off the lip. 5, 6, 7, 7.5, odd size. It's not a locking one either. It does have a little threaded hole. I don't know. None of the hardware it comes with would fit in there, so I don't assume that's what we need to use. So we're getting a couple millimeter. It may not sound like much, but it's going to fill out and it's going to stand out a lot more. So these have spacers and shims and lock washers. What I've found, Old Red has been running these tires or these wheels forever. I run their nut with a single lock washer. That's an M5, I believe these are. You can't go too big of a nut inside of here because it has to fit inside of that. Sometimes these don't fit. So if you've got the lock washer and one of these flanged wheel nuts, it will not allow your cap to go on all the way. So that's why I always use the one it comes with, because it's narrow enough to fit inside of there. And I crank the ever-loving snot out of it to crush that lock washer. We're still not quite in the nylon. That's why the lock washers are there, because we can't always get to the nylon. You could put these nuts on backwards, where you go straight into the nylon, but with a lock washer, it's kind of overkill. And they come with their little tool. These boom wheels are nice. These were some of their early ones before they started the pro builds. And yeah, these pretty ridiculous, the quality. They even have a little valve stem. Looks nice. So I'm going to work on the other three, get these other set of tires mounted up and out of the way, and we'll see how this thing looks. All right, guys. Those look fantastic on there. I'm digging it. I'm happy with everything we've done so far, especially that tummy tuck we did. So one last thing I want to do. I just painted this. It's almost dry. Shout out to my buddy Christian. He's out in Kentucky. He's helping Jeremy with Juicebox Hobbies. I got paint on my fingers. And he's a home printer. He printed me one of these Squarebody bumpers just because. And we're going to put it on here because we all know these bumpers are a little too bulky. And that one is kind of the van SUV type bumper. It's not the truck bumper. So we're going to go with the grandpa style bumper. But we got to do a couple things to it first. Everybody got on me in the comments because in Florida you don't have to have a front plate. I'm from Texas. We always had to have front plates. When I go to USTE, we get a set of 2 every time you buy their scale plates. So I just stuck it on there. Didn't think nothing of it. So we're going to be switching this over to Texas plates. I've got a couple of these left over from the Red Cat hauler. And we're going to mount that on here. It should stick really well with the paint being still wet. If we can get it straight-ish. So now we got a front plate to match. I already swapped that one out. The bumper bolts on, 2 bolts, super easy. One more thing, I'm going to put another ball on here. This is not as big as I'd normally run. This is a standard M3. This is off Tamiya, old touring car stuff. I've got a bunch of these from my Tamiya parts bin, all the vintage stuff I've got. Oh, come on. I got to get the tool for this. But I like to have a ball on there. I've got 3 different versions of this bumper. So this one, Christian printed at home. The file's available online somewhere. The other one I got, I think it was DBI printing, and it's solid. It's like a solid print, so it's a little more durable. That's the one we have on the blue Blazer now. And then the old one on the long bed, I don't know where I got it. I I don't think it was a Shapeways print. I might have spent the money and got it from Shapeways. But it's a hollow print as well. It's basically this same file. Get this cranked down just a little bit. I'm out of the regular balls, but you put a nut on the bottom, so that was the one that threads through the top. But it fits the part. So I'm gonna pull the body off. The bumper is just 2 screws. You can see the mounts here on this bracket. And swap that out real quick. I painted it gunmetal. I'm not gonna weather it since this truck's shiny. I don't know about the color. We'll see how it wears on me. All right, so I did a little work on the mounts for that. It was a little low. It needs a little bit of gap in there so the tailgate opens, but I shaved a little bit off of it. Looks good though. I think the gray was a good call. I've seen a few different front bumpers, but none I've really fallen in love with yet. I've seen a couple with like the bumperettes and stuff on them, but I don't know. This is a little bit sized a little bit different. I think all 3 of mine are a little bit different now. This one does not stick out super far on the side, which I like. So I don't know. Looks a lot better than that big old bulky thing does though. And I don't know why they still put those kind of mounts on there. You can't do that and take the body on and off if that's attached to the body, and I don't know. I always cut these off anyway at the little post. But I'm gonna wrap this video up here. I'm feeling pretty good. I was thinking about doing bumper stickers and stuff, but I don't think I have any. I've got a few good ones, but we're gonna save that for another time because I still don't know the direction of this truck, but I would like to get it out and actually drive it some. I've driven this body on another chassis, but not on the chassis that it came with, not the one we lowered and softened up and everything. So yeah, I think this is the direction we're gonna go with it. Take this one and see what we can do with it. But we're gonna wrap it up here. I appreciate you guys watching. Keep it scale, and I'll see y'all in the next video.